Arroz and Xinran. They are Sleeping Pixel, and they are the creators of the typing romance game Types of Romance. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
So, how did you guys get started in game development?
Okay, so currently we're still students. So we're in Sheridan College for our game design program. We're currently in our third year, and pretty much we've just been playing games for a really long time. I've been playing games since I was like probably around 5 years old. I've always been kind of interested in different media pieces, whether it be literature or film. And going to school for games was kind of like a decision after searching for what I really wanted to do. So
yeah. As for me, I was mostly looking into computer science out of high school, but I also wanted to do something like more design or creativity related because I had done like fine arts for all of my life. Since I was like 4 years old, so game design seemed like an obvious choice for me.
So what would you say are your major influences? What are the games that made you want to get into the business?
I would say things like Stanley Parable and the Beginner's Guide were like really influential to me. I really kind of like those like meta commentary things that games can do that like other mediums of art can't. I would say also things like Journey, just kind of like that experience of just like a really unique experience that like, you can't get in anything else. And then I just like also grew up with like the fun stuff like Kingdom Hearts and like Final Fantasy and like all those as well. So yeah.
Personally, I grew up with like a lot of different games that like people here in the West haven't really played. So such as like a really popular Chinese title called like Legend of Sword and Fairy. It's like not known here, but it was like really popular in China at the time, and that's why my parents got me to play it. And I really like those like long spanning like epics, like but more Asian influence. But when I realized that wasn't the case here, that it wasn't popular here, I just like wanted to do something similar, but here in the West. Yeah.
So, can you describe Types of Romance for someone who's never seen it?
Types of Romance is a typing game dating sim hybrid. You are playing as a poet who's trying to woo a duke or a lady into marrying you. And basically you are typing out a poem that has been pre-written out for you, but sometimes you stumble along the way forgetting your words. When that happens, you can look in your notebook for the correct word and pretty much trying to complete the poem before their patience runs out.
Yeah, and something that we elaborate on a lot in our like story mode, which is we're not showcasing here, is just like the character of the poet, which is like it makes sense for them to carry a notebook around to like write down their notes, and we have things around that, but like something to add on.
So what phase of development are you in?
So right now we're pretty much just working on our narrative mode. So what we have right now is our demo mode, which is what we're showcasing. This is probably our 5th showcase now. We've shown it a lot around Toronto, and it's usually just what we consider our boss battle, which is kind of like the final phase of the game. But we do have a narrative mode. It's a little too lengthy for convention purposes. So we have the lady's story in, but we're thinking about how to integrate the Duke, because he's a very new character. We just implemented it last week. So we're still working on getting all of that together, like code-wise and story-wise.
And as for like uploading it and selling it, we were like still considering platforms, and like we're very new to like releasing a game. So there's a lot of things we have to figure out on like the financial side, on like just like a business.
So this
are you seeking a publisher, or do you think you might?
Not currently. The thing is, Types was very much a niche, like, passion project of ours. We're just like, okay, it was originally for a class, and we're just like, okay, we're gonna make something kind of like weird that like really coincides with our interests, even though it might not speak to like a wide range of people. So it's kind of just been growing out of that, and we're kind of like at a crossroads of like, okay, do we really want to like pursue this like in a more professional manner than like how we have been approaching it? So.
What types of platforms do you think you see it on?
Probably like Steam and Itch. It's like our most likely go-tos.
So why a typing game? What about a typing game? do you think expresses what you want to do with the game?
So we kind of grew up in like the age where they were like shoving like computer typing games at you to like educate you on how to type. So I know like personally, I played a lot of these typing games where they would show you just like kind of like public domain stuff, whether they be like Charles Dickens or like whatever kind of like poems. And we're like, okay, like we haven't really seen typing been integrated in sort of like a narrative, like story-based context, even though like it translates well to just like, you know, speaking something. So we decided to see like maybe if like we could integrate it that way.
Yeah, because originally we did use Shakespeare for like our very first like vertical slice for our typing mechanic, but we quickly figured like that wasn't like enough for us. Like we wanted something more compelling, make use of text in a more creative way, and we saw, hey, visual novels. There's a lot of text, like we can make use of that, and it kind of spurred from there.
Yeah, we've been big fans of like different types of visual novels, so we're like, okay, like this is really kind of like all of our like niche like interests like coming together.
So you guys are in your third year of school. What's something you wish you'd known before you started doing game design? Before you started learning it?
I don't know. Better time management. The thing is, like, the nice thing about our program at Sheridan is the fact that we see so much like of what the upper years are doing. It really gives us a good sense of how to continue on with things. Even though like we're showing things around, I still kind of wish like we'd have done this maybe even a little bit earlier on, maybe in the second year. Just so like we have more time to kind of like prep, because there's only so many like opportunities you get as a student. And I kind of feel like our strengths coding wise is only up to like par now versus like where we were at before. So maybe just like a little more like going into it, like self-learning on those parts. Yeah.
I'd say it's for me it's like we're more learning about the user experience more than anything. I feel like that's something so important, but like people don't really think about that going into game design, because going in I thought it was like we're gonna learn art, we're gonna learn code, we're gonna put it together somehow, but like I never really thought about user experience. But like it was a good thing for me because like I always had like these thoughts about UX in my head that like I never thought like other people considered, but like knowing there was like a profession around it was like really interesting. It was really nice. Yeah.
For me, it was kind of like a nice like intersection of all my interests, because I've talked about this within like my interests are so scattered. So when it comes to like design, it's kind of nice that you have like all those things to like pull you into it, like for creating something for someone.
Yeah, I agree. All right. How do you guys cope with stress or obstacles in your work? What do you guys do when things aren't working?
We've learned to be better about it, like as we're all mostly it's taking breaks, not sweating about like small things so much, and just learning how to prioritize like what your main things that you need to get done like are. Because like before we really killed ourselves to like finish like our first like demo, like back when we showcased for the first time, and it was kind of like in a really unhealthy like way of development. We're just like, okay, we're not doing this again. We need like to take care of ourselves.
It was quite a horror story. We locked ourselves in Mary's one room apartment for I think like 7 hours a day for like every day of the week, and we never went outside. We ordered food in. It was quite insane.
So you had sort of your first experience of crunch.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, crunch also, like, general student stuff, like, if you don't manage your time well, you're gonna have to, like, run into that with assignments or whatever. Yeah.
So, do you guys have a favorite aspect of making games?
Favorite aspect of making games? I don't know. I just like kind of like the initial design and then like putting things together. I know like that's not like I just like it kind of like all like, if that makes sense.
I don't know. Like a lot of designers will say like there's no aha moment in your design process, but like personally, like when I do have that aha moment, like when you figure out, like when you pick up something, you're like, wow, this is compelling. I really enjoy that.
Yeah. Also just like finding really good solutions for an issue that you're having.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, that is so satisfying.
Yeah.
Like just talking it out and be like, hey, maybe like this will work, and like yeah, just exploring like all the venues for like how a problem can be solved, like within the constraints that you have.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Just talking to people in general, like bouncing ideas off. I'm like get kind of addicted to that sometimes. I'm like, oh yes, like keep bouncing off of me. You know? Yeah.
See what we can get. Yeah.
Least favorite? Something so it frustrates you?
Frustrating. I don't think in terms of like game design itself, I don't really get frustrated. For me, it's just like sometimes I have to take on roles that we're not necessarily built for. Like I'm okay with art, but it's not my favorite thing to do. Like it's not what I'm trained to do, and it's not what I want to pursue in the future.
Right.
But like sometimes like when you are down an artist or you don't have an artist, like you need to pick up that role. So it's kind of like juggling all the side tasks. But like game design itself, like I don't think I really have something that I hate about it.
Yeah, I'd say the same issue for me, especially because a lot of people, when they get to know me, they're like, oh, you've done art for like however many years of your life, so you're our artist. And I'm like, the thing is, like, I didn't want to do art because like I don't enjoy doing art. Like I might be very proficient at it, but like generally I only do it to like get the job done. And yeah, it's really frustrating when like someone will just push the job on me, which is why like I really enjoyed working on Types of Romance, because like although like I did the art, I felt like it was an important and necessary part, and like I felt like that I needed to do this job. Like yeah, it was like very integral to the play experience, so I was willing.
So do you have any advice for people wanting to get into games?
Maybe just kind of be aware of like what sort of role you want to get into, and maybe even just the state of the industry in your location, because I feel like I'm originally from Calgary, Alberta, so our game industry isn't as
Not as developed.
not as developed as like any of the coasts. So for me, it took like a little bit more research into like what I wanted to do and making sure that was what I wanted to do. And this is from a very student-oriented perspective, of course. But yeah, just a lot of research before like investing how much like time and money into your education if you're going through that route.
Yeah. I'd say it's like just like I don't know how to say this, but okay, sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Sure.
It was like.
It's basically, do you have any advice for people wanting to get into games?
Okay, so like I've met a lot of people who want to get into games, and they say like they have really good ideas, and like it's like a common occurring theme. Like if you ask a lot of game devs, they'll tell you that like there's a lot of ideas out there. But yeah, I think that like truly the best like game designers are people who have a lot of experiences, like different experiences, like Mary said, like scattered experiences. Because not only is it going to make your product compelling, it's going to make it more enjoyable as like a teammate to talk to you. And like I think because collaboration is such a huge part, people like people want to talk to someone with a broader range of experiences, so it just kind of lends itself well, and people don't realize that part.
Yeah, you hit like a really good point on collaboration. Just like developing the soft skills necessary to like work within a team environment, because like that's such a huge part. Like unless some people may be like developing alone, but that's pretty rare.
It's very rare.
So just like remembering that you are working within like a group, and all of you are just like operating as what is necessary to like create something like really great and compelling for a person. So yeah.
Cool. So what is next for you guys for Sleepy Pixel? For Types of Romance?
Sleepy Pixel, going to sleep for a bit. The thing is right now, since we are in our third year, we're looking for co-op opportunities. So that is going to be our main priority going into like winter. So yeah, we're going to be searching for stuff. Big things for over the summer. So types will probably go to sleep for a bit before we get back to it. We're really just gonna have like a big discussion as to like how we want to move forward and what we want to do with it. Because we've had some people like talking about like publishing it or like localizing it to other places, and it's really just like, do we want to invest time into like this?
And like not only that, but we work together a lot on a lot of games outside of Sleepy Pixel. We don't call it Sleepy Pixel, but essentially we joke that like really like we've been a studio for a while. So we also have like an idea lined up for over the summer, like a mobile game. Like because both of us wanted to get into the mobile market in the end. We were like considering like having a mobile game that's like also like in the realm of like being feminine, like aesthetic wise.
Yeah, we were really dedicated to like creating really like feminine aesthetics in games.
Yeah.
Because I remember like back when our first year, we went to like a showcase and we're like, there is not a lot of femme stuff going on here, and like that's like kind of like a gap that we could try to bridge. Yeah.
All right. So how can people find out more about you guys?
So we are on Twitter at a Sleepy Pixel Game, and that is where we're going to be posting any updates on Types of Romance or possibly our mobile game that we are thinking about creating. I'm on Twitter as well at TwistyPB.
Yeah. My Twitter handle is Xinran_M. You can find these through the Sleepy Pixel account as well.
Yeah. So, and we'll have links to all of this in the description of the video as well. There.
Yeah.
So thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for watching. This is Everyday Expertise. I'm Angela.
Oh, I'm Zin.
Mary.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this interview. Be sure to share this video with friends and colleagues who may also enjoy this topic. Let us know your thoughts by leaving a comment below or check the description for our social media. See you next time.